Greetings, fellow moviegoers, and welcome to Movie Central, the place to talk about movies, TV shows based on movies, toys based on movies, games based on movies, and rides based on movies. I'm your host, Mr. CCS, and this is my pet gorilla, George. Welcome back to my retrospective of the DC animated movie universe. Today, I want to discuss a Batman story that has become a fan favorite over the last few years, and that story is The Court of Owls. This story, I feel, has gotten only better over time. Batman's spirit being completely broken by a secret society composed of the most rich in Gotham is a great idea, and the execution is even better. So awesome, in fact, that these very characters are sought after as the most wanted villains for the Batman films. But until they finally make their live action debut, a good live action debut, we have a movie that takes elements from the Grant Morrison Batman run and the Court of Owls storyline. And we get a pretty awesome movie that is easily one of my favorites in the entire DCAMU. But why? Well, sit back and relax as we find out. This is Batman vs. Robin. The shadows of Gotham City are no place for a child, but Damian Wayne, voiced again by Stuart Allen, is no ordinary child. Now bearing the mantle of Robin, he blazes a headstrong and sometimes reckless trail alongside his father, Batman, voiced again by Jason O'Mara. While investigating a crime scene, Robin encounters a mysterious figure, Talon, who leads him on a life-altering course through the depths of Gotham's secret society, known as the Court of Owls. It's a dangerous journey that will force Batman and Robin to face their most dangerous adversary, each other. Now this is how you do a Damian Wayne story. He questions his actions and whether or not he should be who he currently is, or if he should follow closer to Batman. Throwing the Court of Owls in, who are dark and disturbed and very similar to Damian, is another genius idea, because it showcases how vile Damian can become if he is one of them. And even then, watching Batman psychologically struggle is also great, and something we need to see more of, because it's one of the darkest story elements that the comics have in regards to Bats' character. But other than that, I want to discuss the three main characters in the movie and talk about their individual arcs, breaking down what works and what I truly loved. So the three characters the movie focused on were Batman, Robin, and Talon. Batman is still mostly himself, but by the beginning of the second act, the Court of Owls enters his life. After having been attacked by them, he is pursued by them to join because of his wealth. They don't know who he is outside of his rich life, so they're the ones who offer to take the Bat out with Bruce's help. Being Batman, he obviously tricks them and says he'll join just to take them out. Yeah, that's how awesome he is. At the same time, Damian is being persuaded to join the court as well, leading to a physical altercation between the Dark Knights and Robin. Batman is later drugged and is forced to see a vision of the future where everything around him dies, and at the helm of it all is Damian, new Batman and full assassin. While not the darkest idea for a Batman story ever, it's still really effed up. It delves into perfectly new themes, as well as new ideas for Elseworlds stories. The point is, I love this idea for an Elseworlds comic. I hope it makes it into the writing stages, and is actually good. Speaking of actually good, Damian's character arc is actually good. Yeah, Damian Wayne has a good character arc. This guy is freaking good. How? Why? Okay, in all seriousness, what I find most interesting about Damian in this film is that he walks in the thin line of being with his father and devotion to the darkness. We've seen this story a million times. Star Wars. But the way it's tackled here is pretty good, and I dare say even one of the best ways it could be handled. Not as great as how Anakin handles his transition in Revenge of the Sith, but still pretty good nonetheless. And now we have to talk about Talon. Talon is a villain I don't particularly care for in the comics, other than his personality. I always just say him as the dog for the court, kind of like Darth Vader for the Empire in the original Star Wars. Well, that's two Star Wars references in one video? Meta. Anyways, Talon is pretty awesome villain because of how similar he and Damien are, but oh so different. Because Talon didn't have a loving father or one who cared, which is why he turned, and that is when he became Talon and the best character of the movie because he's everything Damien is with just the right amount of darkness thrown in for extra measure. This is perfect because the hero and villain connect here, and that is a great idea of storytelling. They need to do this type of story in certain ways like this more often because with some tweaks it can turn out great. Alright, that's enough about the three main characters. Alfred, the court, and Nightwing serve their purpose in the movie well. The court is visually stunning and downright cruel. Alfred is helpful when he needs be, and Nightwing still kicks butt whenever the plot needs him to. So yeah, the characters do their job well and make for a very good story. So anyways, the animation is great. Yeah, it's a lot more muted this time around because of the darker tone this movie wants to implement, which is always great, and I love that little touch. And in regards to action and violence, dude, the zombie talons, Batman's brutal beating in the beginning, the doll maker and his heart being torn out of his body. Like, honestly, what the hell? This movie is violent and earns the PG-13 rating. If it went just a step farther, the R rating would have been justified, much like Flashpoint. This is easily one of the darkest movies in the franchise by far, and it shows. Now, as far as final action scenes go, or individual action scenes, my favorite is the final battle in the Batcave. But I love the opening scene with the doll maker and the fight with the zombie talons and Batman versus Robin's fight itself. These are great and are a ton of fun. So overall, Batman vs. Robin, what else can I say? I freaking adore this movie, man. It's my favorite of the DCAMU Batman films and one of my favorite DCAMU films, period. Just behind Flashpoint on the ranking. Out of all the movies I've covered these 3 weeks, check this one out. You'll be in for a great time. This movie, for me, gets a 10 out of 10. Well, that's it for this week. Feel free to leave your thoughts on this movie in the comments below and tune in next week for the next chapter in the DCAMU with Batman Bad Blood, not a Taylor Swift song. With that said, my name is Mr. CCS, this is Movie Central, and that, my friends, is a wrap. See you next week.